Maybe you won 3 games, but lost a single game and actually ranked down. Or no matter how many you win, you just can't seem to rank up very quickly. Well, let's talk about the exact way the MMR system works in Valorant and tell you all the ways that your individual play can impact the MMR system and special things that you could do in order to abuse the MMR system to your advantage. Anyways, before we get started, go get some water, hydrate, up that mental clarity, smash that subscribe button, and let's jump into it. So first off, we're gonna go over things that you should do, things that you should not do, and then some notable things that we can learn about the MMR system that you might not know about. So the first topic is what you should do, and the first thing on the list is plain and simple, winning more games will rank you up, and it's the most important aspect into your ranked MMR. Now there's gonna be a lot of different things that affect your rank, but just winning a game, if you keep winning, it is impossible for you to rank down. Doesn't matter how bad you do, you will not rank down. And of course, more than anything else, you definitely just want to be winning the game. Now, the second thing is to have a high combat score. Now, this is a high eco rating, high kills, low deaths, things like that. Now, there's a lot of different things that go into exactly how much impact you have in a game, and it's unsure how much each one of them affect you. But one of the things we know affects you the most is having incredibly high kills and incredibly low deaths. On top of that, eco rating does affect it in some regard, and that is just how efficient you are with your weapons. But the thing about being efficient with the weapons is typically you're the least efficient when you buy expensive weapons and die. So if you have low deaths, you're automatically going to have a high eco rating. Now, the next thing you need to do is start getting match or team MVP. Now, this matters because it shows far and away that you were the best person in the lobby or on your team, and you were the difference maker. You were the one that had the most impact. If you have a game where you popped off, but there was lots of people doing better than you, then the rating system looks that different because it doesn't distinguish you from the people around your rank. So that's something that's really important to keep in mind. And then the last thing that you need to do is win games by a landslide. A lot of players will have a huge advantage and they'll stop taking things seriously. They will just mess around with whatever gun, even in ranked. They're not trying to just stomp the enemy team. If you are up 9-0, make it a no-loss game. Do whatever you can to win it by the largest margin because then you will gain the most MMR. Now we gotta move on to what not to do, and this is probably more important. A lot of the stuff at the top was pretty basic, but let's dig into some more things that you need to think about. The first thing is never give up on a losing game. Now, the big takeaway here is, first off, every game is winnable. It doesn't matter if it's 9-0 and you're on the losing team or whatever, every single game is winnable, but it's gonna be better for you to lose a game where you came back from like 2-12 all the way up, climbing to like 7-12. That's gonna be way better and gonna make you lose less if you can do that, as opposed to just accepting it and giving up. So never give up in a losing game. And what that goes along with is, honestly, you really shouldn't be surrendering unless you have a leader or a thrower. Now, if you have a leader or a thrower, I understand, hey, I don't want to play in this game anymore. It annoys the heck out of me. I know I'm gonna tilt and play poorly in my preceding game. Sure, but if you're gonna surrender after like, 8 rounds and you didn't do well, what's to stop you from bringing that back? Or just fight for some more round wins. Because remember, when you surrender, every single round is gonna be an auto loss. So the difference in that, I mean, even if you just win a couple, it's gonna be better than you surrendering. Now, the next thing that you absolutely need to not do is no unnecessary deaths. If you are not getting a lot of kills, then you need to have an extremely low death count. Let me give you this example. Let's say you're not playing a flashy character that tries to chase kills, which we already identified that getting more kills will rank you up higher, but that's not the character you are. You're someone like a Sage or a Brimstone. You don't want to be chasing kills. You want to be staying alive in the backline and doing your job. So what do you do in order to offset that? Well, you have to have a very, very low death count. If you only get 10 kills in that game, it's fine. If you only die in rounds that your whole team was wiped, or maybe even stayed alive and saved in some of those rounds, you do not want any unnecessary deaths at all. And unnecessary deaths are often rounds that you won or had an advantage in, and you went out, tried to make a play, and you died, and it was an unnecessary death. Maybe you still won the round, but you died in the process. So make sure that you value your life, especially on these characters. Make sure that your KD is extremely good. It's not just about the kills, it's a lot about the KD when playing these characters, so definitely keep that in mind. And then the last thing in this section, and this has to do with economy, you cannot buy an expensive weapon and then die. this will mess up your econ rating so much. If you buy an operator and the first time you buy the operator, you get destroyed and you die, your econ is just forever ruined, because the system takes it into account that, hey, I bought this weapon, I bought this sniper rifle, and it's 4,500 credits, but the credits to kills ratio and how long this operator lasted me through the multiple rounds, it didn't transfer to any long-standing values. So dollar to kill ratio, it was an extremely terrible pick. So all that means is when you buy an operator, there's a little bit of extra weight on your shoulders to perform with it, and you honestly want to be able to keep the operator throughout multiple rounds. That also means if you have an operator and you kill one person and then your whole team dies and it's 1v4, honestly, it's going to be better for your econ rating, your low death count, and really just the macro strategies of keeping an op away from the enemy. All these things will line up to where you just want to save that operator and you don't want to risk losing it. Now let's move on to some notable things that you need to know, and I'm going to answer big questions like, should I play a high DPS character, someone that is a duelist instead of someone that is a healer? Should I go into pre-mates or just play solos? I'm going to answer all those questions, so don't worry about it. So the first thing that you need to take is that high DPS characters like initiators like Reyna and Phoenix or whatever, these characters have the potential to get more value and gain more rank up. But of course, there is going to be more risk if you die more, because that's just their playstyle. These characters' value thrive on making calculated risk, so the risk for them to get shut down is going to be more. If you're confident that you could outplay the mechanical skill set of all the people in your rank just with your mechanics alone, then a dueler would probably be the best for you, because then you're going to be able to get value out of your engagements, you're going to be able to rank up faster, and it's going to get you higher and higher down the rank. But if your skill set relies in some other aspect, like you really like to think of macro strategies, or your econ is on point, you have a large fundamental knowledge of the game, or anything like that, playing a dueler is actually going to hurt you, because yes, you have the potential to gain more rank and value if you play these, but if you're bad at them, you're going to get shut down, you're not going to bring much value to the team, and then of course, you're probably just going to lose more, which we said before is the #1 thing that's going to affect your rank. Now, the next thing that you need to know is that the more and more games you play, the less movement you'll see with each win and loss. Now, we don't know what the rank number looks like behind the scenes, which in my personal opinion, we should see like a numerical value to our ranks. But what you should know is right when you place, if you just start popping off and winning, you will rank up incredibly quickly. But after you've played 50, 100, a whole bunch of games, the amount of movement you're going to see is far less, which could be a good thing or a bad thing. A good thing because you're not going to be swinging. It's not going to swing you, oh, I had a bad unlucky lose streak, I lost 2 games, and now I went down 2 ranks. No, you're not going to see that, but it's going to be about the slow and steady grind, how much value you get every match, the wins over time, the total win percentage, how much impact you bring to every single game. Can you get to that 60+% of winning the games? Those are all the things that are going to be important. Now, the last question that we have to talk about, and it might be the most important question, should I solo or should I stack in order to give me the best chance of winning? Well, Riot has allowed pre-mates to go up against solos, and Riot has actually already commented on this. They have gotten the average pre-made versus solo about 50% through their own behind-the-scenes MMR system. Now, what does that mean? Well, essentially what they're doing is they're putting a numerical value in elo associated with a ranked team, depending on how stacked they are. Now, what that means is that maybe an entire team of plat 2s that are stacking will go up against a whole bunch of solos that are about diamond 1. In that way, they attribute about a rank's worth of gap between a 5-man team and a whole bunch of solos. But I'm not saying that that's the perfect formula, but I'm saying that they have identified that they have gotten the formula to make it so solos and pre-mates win about 50-50. Now, what can we ascertain from this, and in what way can we use this to our advantage? Well, the thing is, this is the average 5-stack. This is not a 5-stack that has been scrimming. This is not a 5-stack that has been practicing together. This is just an average 5-stack of players. And honestly, not a lot of players are scrimming in proportion to the overall population. So here's what I'll tell you. If you want to give yourself a big advantage, you want to play Valorant in the right way with comms, you want to learn that proper way, I would say go ahead and stack, but only if you put in time and effort into scrims or things like that in order to build up that synergy. If you could build up that synergy with a team of 5, then when you go into a game, you're going to have so much more impact than your average 5-stack, which when Riot talks about the 50-50 chance, They're not talking about people that have put time and effort into building up that synergy like you and your 5-stack. So that is my suggestion for that question. You could definitely overcome the MMR disadvantage with synergy, but you got to put the work for it. And then you're going to just be farming up some games until, of course, you start running into some more stacks that also put in the effort like you. But then the games are pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie. Now, the big question that I have for you though is, do you think this system is fair? I know that a lot of characters get more value based on attacks, but like I said, they do have a converse amount of risk, and I'm not entirely sure what they do behind the scenes when comparing characters. I'm not sure if they compare Sages to other Sages, Phoenixes to other Phoenixes, or are they comparing Sages to Phoenixes? I do know that a really good Phoenix player can climb a lot faster than a really good Sage player, but I definitely want to hear your takes in the comments down below. Speaking of down below, as you go down to comment, smash that sub button, do us a big favor here at GameLeap. We're climbing all the way up to 75,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for being a part of this insane community. Anyways, that's all I got for you today. I'm Coach Mills, and until next time.